So, are you here to return an armoire?
My name is Tabitha. I need better
This isn't
measurements.
doing anything for me.
No.
No, I got something for you to measure. It's at least 2 full inches. So, we've got episode 2 of Yellowjackets, a show I hope that a lot of people are watching.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if they are, but the people I have seen watching it on my feed are enjoying it quite a bit, like ourselves.
Uh-huh.
And I definitely hope that this is one that hits. You never know, though. We're only 2 episodes in, but I don't know what the response and the ratings or whatnot were for the first episode. I guess we could look that up. I can say that there is only currently 1,087 reviews or ratings for the entire show right now. Now, personally, I'm not somebody who would ever rate a show until at least the first season was done. I don't really rate shows on IMDb, but I do use that as a gauge sometimes. Not all the time by any means, but I talked about it enough on here. If a movie's below a certain rating, no thank you. Especially if it drops below a 4, fucking forget it. And if a show usually drops below like a 6, usually forget it. But not always.
Yeah, there's plenty of movies that we really love that have those low ratings.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. And Day of the Dead's like a 4.2.
Yeah.
And we're enjoying that. So anyway, but yeah, this only has 1,087. And the episode's 39, but that was the one tonight. And then this one, 233. So, yeah, I don't know. That doesn't look like a lot of people. We'll see.
Yeah.
But F Sharp is the newest episode. And I'd say we spend about an equal amount of time present and past.
Yeah, I think so.
I thought it was going to be a little more in the present when the show's, like, when the episode started, because it felt like the first, 15 minutes or so was. And I was like, oh, wow, we're really going to do, we're not going to focus on the past much. But then we got a good chunk of it that was the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I love that it's been pretty equal. I felt the same way about the first episode. It was pretty evenly split between the present and the past. And, I mean, that's one of the reasons that, It is my favorite Stephen King book. And I love the movie adaptation. I like seeing characters in their youth and then kind of what happens when they grow up. I think that there's a lot of compelling content that you can get out of that.
The only thing that's kind of a downer about that is obviously that their past selves don't die. So that takes a lot of the, mystery and anticipation out of that. Also, I'm not a big fan. I've never been a big fan of movies that start. And now, of course, there's exceptions to every rule here, but I've never been a big fan of the whole idea of starting something at the end of the movie and then working its way back. Of course, an example that this works in is Fight Club, but I don't know. I still am not a huge fan of seeing what's going to happen at the end and then making our way back. But this is a little different. This is so many years before, so it's not just we're seeing the ending of it and it's let me tell you how I got here.
Well, and even with the present, we're not seeing the end. We're still starting in a beginning for where they are now and the mystery around that. And I feel that even though we know that some of the main characters that we're introduced to and following, obviously we know they don't die in the past in the plane crash or whatever happens following that, there's still plenty of other characters that we don't know that whether or not they survive, and there's still a chance that these characters that are alive today are going to be killed.
Absolutely.
So at least for me with this, I don't feel like it's ruining any of the mystery.
Sure, because this isn't starting at the end. As you said, the past is past, but the present has a future.
Yes.
We're not starting at the end, making our way backwards with this. We are starting in the middle and making our way backwards and forwards. Mm-hmm. So that's fine, and that works. I'm just saying that in certain scenarios, I'm not a fan of storytelling like that starts at the end, but this one doesn't, as you said. It just, I know that nothing can happen to 4 of these characters for sure, and maybe a 5th. We might get confirmation here that a 5th is alive. Travis, who has changed his name, doesn't want to be found, has went into hiding, but we're not 100% it's him yet.
Right.
I'm going to assume it's probably him. But Misty is not a trustworthy person in the slightest. So I can't really trust anything she says. You know, she could have motive behind, you know, tricking people at any point.
Yeah.
I mean, the way this ends,
yes,
you know not to trust a word out of her fucking mouth. And you also just need to know that you can't trust anything that you don't explicitly see. Because in the comments I was getting some people talking about how they're kind of being dicks, like, oh, well, I think 1 or 2 people were like, the person who's wearing the necklace has got to be her. You know, in the first episode, when the girl gets killed in the opening and she's wearing the necklace, it's like, well, it's obvious this person. I'm like, anybody could wear that necklace. She gives it away fucking freely to her friend.
Yes.
And it could exchange hands 7 times throughout the fucking show. You don't know who's wearing that thing.
For sure.
So to come back at me like 100% it's her. Oh, duh, she took it back. It's her fucking thing.
Well, it's definitely possible that is
but
what
she's
happens.
wearing it in this episode.
She's not.
No, I
don't
mean
know
the
character names
freaking
yet, but
Shauna is wearing it.
Shauna
in this
is
episode.
still wearing it, but I mean, and it's possible that she gives it back to her friend, you know, or that her friend takes it back. Like, that's definitely something that could happen. But like you said, we don't know that it doesn't exchange hands, you know, a bunch of other times. So,
I mean, they could use that thing as just like a mark. You put it on that person, and they're the current person to hunt and eat.
That would be really cool.
You know, because it is cannibalism. We are dealing with them cooking up bodies here. Now, the people that are in the plane, I'm going to assume, will be the first on the menu.
I don't know, though, actually. No? I don't know. Well, because...
I mean, maybe.
It's possible, but I sort of see them trying to hunt, like, animals and stuff first. I don't really see them going straight to cannibalism.
Sure,
that always feels like
that doesn't mean that they can't.
Well, but by the time... I guess what I mean by that is that by the time that they resort to cannibalism, I feel like those bodies would be decayed to the point where they wouldn't be edible. Like,
isn't there snow out there?
Yeah, but how long does a body stay? You could pack them in the snow. Sure, but...
Absolutely. I mean, in Alive, the story of the soccer team that crashed into the Andes, they had those bodies in the snow for weeks and weeks, and they would cut them off and thaw them out and eat them. 100%.
So I mean, I guess that's if that's the case, then they probably would resort to the ones that are already dead first. But I guess like they're teen girls for the most part, so they don't have that much meat on them, but I was going to say, I wonder how long it would last. I mean, we know they're out there for 19 months.
Not that long.
So I guess it wouldn't be enough to sustain them, even if there's like, you know, there's at least like 6 of them, I feel. Maybe not, maybe like 5, because they cover them with the tarp that are dead.
Yeah. One's already cooked.
That's true.
Yeah. One's already been roasted. So
prepared.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the other one was skewered.
Oh, gosh.
Right through the neck.
Yeah.
And then she had a fucking, like, a very visceral reaction to the coach's leg.
Oh, my God. Yeah. That was great. The effects looked awesome. But, I mean, it was, like, pulverized. Like, it was, like, jelly.
Well, that's what it would look like.
And that was intense. It was really intense to see it. In this episode, I think we got a lot of cool, gory bits, which I really liked.
Yeah.
It was a great episode. I mean, I'm still really high on this show. I don't feel like it's gone down at all. I'm still... really invested in like the mystery and what's going on, and then with Christina, what is her character's name? Misty. That's right. Like you said, she's very untrustworthy and extremely manipulative, and I think this episode really explores that more, which is cool to see. Because we sort of thought that she was. I mean, you were calling it in the first episode that she was going to be some kind of leader type of character.
Well, she's nuts.
They go down. Yeah.
She's fucking crazy.
She's really... But so is Shauna.
Shauna is
but in a different
up.
way. Yeah.
You know,
They're
there's a difference
fucked.
between crazy and fucked
Yeah.
up. Like, I think Shauna is just trying to feel something, and Misty's trying to control everything.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, she's been bullied, and I think this is her first taste of power. And this is what compels her to break the black box at the end of the episode, right? Is that, you know, it just so happens in that moment that the girl who gets left behind.
Oh man.
And Vanessa. She just so happens to be walking by right in that moment, almost fated to be, and telling them how lucky they are to have Misty and how awesome she is. And she's never been thought of as awesome. And she knows as soon as they're rescued that she's just going to go back to being lame ass Vanessa. And we really explore her character really well. Before we get into Misty here, I just bring it right back real quick to the whole plane on the leg thing. The wing. I don't know how the hell that's possible. I don't know how he got outside of the plane and with the wing on his leg. I don't get that. I don't know if like he got out of the plane and then was walking around and it was up and it fell on him and he was trying to run away. We don't know, but there's no way he fell out of that plane while it was fucking crashing and then he ended up right next to it with a wing on his leg. That's just no way.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened there. But anyway, all I wanted to say about that is I've seen so many movies, so many movies where someone has something fall on them and then someone comes over and just moves that thing that's crushing them, and then they're like, oh, thank you, and they get up and they walk away. And I'm like, that thing is 1,000 pounds. This person would be crushed.
Yes.
This person's, whatever was under there is crushed.
Yes.
Whether it's their, pelvis or their fucking leg or anything, that crushed.
Yes.
So this is something that is so annoying to me in movies and in TV shows. I've seen it countless times at this point. So it's great to see this guy's leg under a wing. And when I thought for sure they were going to pull it away, and he was just going to be like, oh, thank you. And I was like, don't do it. And his leg is just flat.
Oh my god, yeah.
And like coming apart as he tries to move it.
They try and they pull him out and it like flops.
Oh man.
It's so gnarly looking. Like it's so gross, but it looks great. It looks really good. And everything with the plane crash is, I mean, it's terrifying, right? Because it's like your chances of surviving a plane crash are pretty low. Your chances of being in a plane crash are also pretty low. But when it's one of the, I feel like the scariest things that you can kind of imagine happening to you because you're helpless. Like you really just have to bank on the luck that you're going to land somewhere where you would survive and be found.
In a situation like that, where you're in a smaller plane and it's crashing into the woods, your chances of survival are low, yes. If you look up the statistics for the probability of survival in modern aeronautics, it's actually higher than you'd think. It's in the 90 plus percentile that you survive.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. That actually,
those are like
I looked that
commercial
up.
airlines?
Yes. So I looked that up. I was curious on the number there. And the chances, of course, of you going down at all are astronomical. But then the chances of you dying in that plane crash are less than 10%. I think it was in like the 5% range.
Oh, that's pretty impressive.
So they've gotten pretty fucking amazing at even pulling off. But now I'm sure they're counting any instrument failure or any kind of like technical problem or any kind of like small issue as a successful landing after an issue.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder what qualifies as like a crash landing.
Like
not necessarily.
Yeah, if the plane's going down at 100, 300-400 miles per hour or something. I don't know what terminal velocity of a plane would be. So probably wouldn't get. I don't know what the speed would be. Whatever it is, if you were going straight terminal velocity at the ground, you're dying 100%.
Well, and like you said, like small planes too. Yes. I don't really have a whole lot of fear with commercial airliners. I've been on a lot of flights, but I've never really been on a small plane, and I don't really have any intention of getting on one just because there's like most of the cases of that going down are not successful.
I've been on some small planes actually. Not my favorite thing. So, all right. So we get some more looks into Shauna's life and her failing marriage.
Yep.
And they're trying to spice things up by role playing, which I am with Shauna on this one. It's just not something I can get into. I myself I find it too silly. Don't drink that. Nope.
Drinking foot water.
My daughter had a foot bath earlier and it's still sitting there and the cat's trying to drink it. Anyway, I've always just found that silly. I'm not somebody who can, come up and be like, hey, baby. Like, whatever. I can't. Not for real.
Yeah. Well,
I think, like, as a joke, maybe to, like, playfully spice things up. But, like, straight up role playing.
Yeah.
Like, you go out, wait in the lobby or whatever, and I'm like, pretend you're a maid.
Oh, a maid?
Yeah, we're at the hotel. You're coming to clean the room. Like, room service? Anybody home?
Do you need me to feather something?
No.
No?
See? This is already going south. I don't want feather dust.
Why not?
Tickled.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I don't want to be tickled. But anyway, so that's a big failure. And before this, she gets in a fender bender, which is 100% her fault legally. If you rear-end somebody, no matter whatever happened, I mean, unless you can prove something insane, you're in fault. That's just the legality of it. He calls her out for this, but he also gives and exchanges numbers, and the surprise is supposed to be that he is the adorable mechanic.
Yes, adorable mechanic.
That is going to light up her life because she don't follow the rules according to his 2-second interaction with her. He's just trying to get laid. And I will pretty much bet almost anything they're going to have sex.
Yes.
But I think what's going to happen, and this will be my guess here, is that she's going to get suspicious because she's already somebody who, he's right. I mean, I don't know if this guy is like some savant or something, but he is accurate on at least who she used to be, that she is somebody that doesn't play by the rules. I mean, she's still chopping up fucking bunnies in the backyard and cooking them into stews, so I guess she still is. But now with this whole, she sees the text message come through from Bianca, same place, 4 o'clock, whatever. I personally think, and I could totally be wrong, of course, with any prediction, I'm going to assume that this is harmless. And that she's going to think it's something, which is going to lead her to sleep with this guy.
Yeah.
And then she's going to find out it was nothing.
Sure.
And feel like a piece of shit. It could be completely different than that, but that's my first instinct. What's going to happen? What do you think?
I mean, yeah, I think that's a definite misdirect that could happen. The scenario that they're setting up, I mean, they're in marriage counseling, they haven't had sex in a while, and he's working late nights and all of that, so definitely
right, they kind of already set that up.
Seems like maybe he's having an affair. But it's possible that he's not, and I think it would be a cool misdirect, and she'll definitely feel like an asshole and a bitch for sleeping with somebody else.
She might already know this name, right? Bianca's someone he works with. I mean, she might already think that there's something.
It's a customer, right? Like, because that's his fantasy, is like, why don't you be a customer in my store?
Well, he likes to get it on in the store.
Yes.
With a coworker.
Or a coworker.
Too, right?
Yeah, either way, in that setting. But also with the mechanic that she rear ends, I sort of thought that he maybe was like trying to get close to her to get information, since they have this reporter or whatever that's asking questions and trying to get her to sign a book deal and all this stuff. I kind of was like a little suspicious of him. That
pretty coincidental that she rear-ended him.
It would be, but he does stop, and I don't know, like that could have happened, right? Like maybe he was in front of her on purpose and then stops quickly. But obviously she's distracted and on the phone.
Yes.
So, I think that's a little bit paranoid of me to think, but it would be, I don't know, like I had the thought, especially because he was like, you seem like somebody who breaks the rules. Like you said, I don't really know where he gets that from. I mean, she's kind of sarcastic and whatnot with him, but that's not really.
I think he's just attracted to her.
Yeah, I do too.
He's just projecting.
Sure.
Right? He says that, and then he's like, I'm sorry, never mind. Like,
yeah.
I think he's just trying to see. Right?
Like what she'll be willing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because she has a wedding ring on, too, so.
Sure.
I'm sure he noticed that.
I mean, it's possible. what you're saying. I just think that's a little far-fetched. It's
Sure.
not outside the realm of possibility. Shows have pulled off way more insane things than that. But I just think this is like temptation outside of her marriage.
Yes.
That we're really going to more focus on the failure of her marriage currently. But anything's possible. So we'll see. You could be right on that. And so I guess that's mostly it for her. I think we've kind of guessed everything we need to do here. Moving on to Taissa, whose son is thinking he's seeing someone outside his window and is drawing pictures of like 3 alien figures standing over his bed and shit.
Yeah, I mean, he has like eyeballs on there and like other weird drawings, which I think is just him being, he's feeling watched and scared. So I don't know if there's actually aliens obviously watching him, but I mean, it could be a creepy looking figure too. So he's kind of doesn't know what else it would be. Although he does say that it's a woman, so. Yeah. I'm not sure. And also, I was confused by that scene because I thought that they were putting him to bed. And she goes, like, because she was going to read him a story.
Yeah. Well, she's doing the, like, shadow puppets. But then she opens
up the window and it's, like, daylight out.
Was it?
Yeah.
No, yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I mean, it could be...
It's 8 o'clock at night.
Sure.
In a town where the sun doesn't go down until, like, 8:10.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
It would be pretty light outside.
It was weird. I don't know. I don't know, but I was confused by that scene for a moment when she opened the window. So...
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we could speculate here. There is a hint, potentially, that there are at least 1 or more people out in the woods before they land there.
Yes.
There is the symbol, which is on both Misty and Natalie's postcards that they receive that are on the tree
when they land.
Well, we don't know for sure that's true.
We don't. Somebody could have carved it, but it seems I was under the impression that it was there already. That there's people.
You know who has a knife though? Is Vanessa, because I think that's how she cuts herself out of the chair. Right, because I think she has a knife in her hand when she's like, surprised.
Yeah.
Maybe I thought I saw it like a pocket knife or something, and she could have been the one carving that shit into the tray.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if she had a pocket knife, but yeah, my first inclination though was definitely that there's some other people in that area.
I would assume that's probably what we're going towards, but not 100.
Mm-hmm. No, not 100. There's definitely somebody could have carved it for sure.
They're like marking their territory or something. It just seems really early for them to start marking their gang symbols.
Of course.
Whatever the fuck is happening there.
Exactly. Well, that's why I thought it would be somebody else that's already been in the area.
The only reason that I'm not 100% on that is because if someone marked that in the tree like a while ago, the tree would have already overgrown it and it would have been in there.
Sure, it would have had to been recently
This is recently done.
Which, I mean, we kind
of... That doesn't mean that it couldn't have been someone outside the plane beforehand. I'm just saying that thing's pretty fresh.
It is. And although I don't really think the show is going to go supernatural.
No, I don't see it.
It definitely could be like some cult that's there that thinks that they're, bringing more people, or, you know what I mean? Like maybe they're trying to
Doomsday freaking Jonestown cult.
Yeah, create some event and the plane just so happens to crash there. Could be something that way.
It's a sign.
Right.
From whatever god they worship or something.
But we don't know.
I don't know. I mean, we know that Misty, at least we don't know anything really, but we assume from what we've been given that Misty is the leader of this faction.
Yes.
Whether or not there's multiple, groupings of girls and potentially boys. I don't know if all the boys are taken out. Travis, they seem to think he potentially survived or did survive. I mean, they should know if he survived.
Yes.
Right? Like, if they were all rescued together.
Yes.
They should know who survived and who did not. So if they should know Travis survived, and if Travis does survive, then... Because Misty would know that, but she couldn't lie to Natalie about that. Like, Natalie would have known she survived. Like, or he survived. Because they would be in the papers. Even if they were picked up separately, they would still know what happened when they were picked up. Right?
Well, and it also seems like they... Not only that they would know based on how, the rescue itself, but that they've been in contact at some point with the other survivors because they have some type of pact to not talk. So, but if he's trying to change his identity, and doesn't want anything to do with it.
He doesn't want to remember.
Yeah, which I can't really blame him. His dad died horribly.
Now, if anybody has confirmation here and wants to rewind the scene and check it out again, I feel like his father moved before the tree branch broke.
We both
he
thought
still
we saw
survived.
his hand.
He would have fucking died.
Oh, for sure.
And he would have been dead. Yes. So I don't buy that he's alive, but I guess anything's possible. You could survive maybe for a few minutes.
And it could have just been the weight of Travis on the branch that flopped it.
Picked up his arm.
But it looked like he was reaching his arm up, and then obviously when
But it could have been gravity.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Isn't that what you just said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where he was on the branch and it kind of just moved it.
No, I'm just saying gravity from him falling. And
yes.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. When he was on the branch and it started to fall.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It looked like he moved his arm because it looked like he did it before it dropped. So, but they don't make any mention of it. So it seems odd to me that it would be so blink and you miss it kind of thing. What would that add to the show?
Well, the only one
nobody mentions it.
But the only one who would have seen it would have been Travis.
Yeah, he might say something.
Angle,
like
the
my dad was alive.
Obscuring. Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah. But...
Yeah. And the little brother is the one that's all is he the one that's staring off?
In the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end.
He's all fucked up. As anybody would be.
Of course.
So, yeah, I mean, so we've got that whole thing where these guys have to deal with the death of their father. But as I said, I think he's just dead. I think we just think we saw what we saw, but I don't think we saw anything. And then we got the God-fearing girl who blames it on herself because she called someone a cunt in her head, a piano teacher, which brought some levity.
Yes.
But this really is... everyone starts to share, and I do think we get the impression that Shauna's going to share that she's fucking her best friend's boyfriend.
Yes.
But Misty stops this from happening by taking it upon herself to try to cauterize this guy's bleeding leg, which, of course, presents themselves with a multitude of new factors. Burns get infections really bad. So the whole cauterizing the wound thing is I mean, maybe it's a last ditch effort. You can't get the bleeding to stop, but once that thing is burnt, man, you have, I mean, you ever seen a burn tent? There's a reason that when someone gets burns all over their body is that they can't be around anything or anybody. I mean, they're so easily prone to infections.
Yeah. Well, anytime because your skin is isn't it your largest organ?
Yes.
So when it gets compromised, infection is really high. Yeah. But I do think he's going to die.
Yes.
He even might be one of the first people that gets eaten as well.
No, if he dies from infection,
you're right.
Could
they
not
shouldn't
eat him.
But yeah, that's a good point. But I do think he's going to die probably from infection. Actually,
yeah, he'll probably die of sepsis or something.
Awful.
A terrible
awful.
Way to die. But Misty will put him out of his misery for sure.
Oh, she definitely will. She will definitely do that. Yeah, she's so crazy. And during this episode too, when she's older, she's so clearly pretty.
My dad was just going to talk about this.
Yeah, we were both just it's really unbelievable that she would have problems finding somebody to date, even being eccentric.
Oh, sure.
Even being a little weird and
Guys
saying that escalators turn her on.
Yeah.
But she's still clearly attractive and it makes no sense. I mean, she's even cute when she's younger too. She's not ugly.
No.
She's not. So.
Yeah, I think that they just went for like a known actress here.
Yeah.
And they did the thing that Kaylee hates. They try to just put glasses on someone and make them unattractive, which is just so insane because, much like escalators, glasses are a kink of mine that I'm very into and always
much
have
like
been.
Escalators.
I
don't know. The things she's listing off, I'm assuming that she finds them erotic in some way.
She'd be getting laid.
That they're turn-ons,
She'd be
but
getting
I really
laid.
was like,
left, right, and center.
Oh 100%. Yeah, she would. Yeah.
I grew up with an enormous crush on Christina Ricci, whether it was Buffalo 66 or fucking, Sleepy Hollow or whatever the fuck. I mean, she is gorgeous.
Yes.
And yeah, it's very unbelievable that she's not desirable. Now, there are guys out there for sure that would be around somebody like that and be turned off by how crazy she is. For sure. She's acting fucking nuts. Now, this like nerdy guy who was just laid off, I'm not buying that he's not trying to
for sure.
nail her.
She does have this very, and we've said that she's really manipulative, and her manipulation is the like, I'm gonna be super nice and like peppy, and it definitely comes off as disingenuous and fake for sure. I mean, whenever what's the punk girl's name again?
Oh,
the other survivor.
Natalie.
When Natalie, like towards the end of the episode, is trying to drive to go find Travis, and she shows up, and she's like, "No, like get in my car, I'll drive."
Well, even earlier when she's on the date,
yes,
she says her car can't start. Mm-hmm. She's constantly manipulating and lying. I mean, she breaks a fucking black box at the end of this, which strands them there for 19 months just because she doesn't want to lose her, cool card that she's currently holding.
Well, and like so she just, like everybody there, just went through this insanely traumatic experience. And previous to that, she was being bullied. Like, she gets a phone call from some girls that are like, you did anal, like, and like they're just being assholes to her. So she's already traumatized from that. Yeah. And she gets her first sense of validation. So, like, it's just interesting to see how, like, an exploration of how people would react under the pressure of having an event like that occur. And although I heavily disagree with her breaking the black box and think it's super selfish of her, I can also understand her motivation and like where she's coming from with it.
In a completely twisted, fucked up, I would still kill her kind of way.
Right. No, like I don't approve of it. It makes sense. Like you have mental breaks, right? Like you kind of compartmentalize.
Sure.
And I think that's what's happening to her. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And then we also get the Marilyn Manson kid from episode 1 is now a detective. So there's definitely people that seem to be looking in. Now this is somebody who I could more take a page from what you said earlier about the rear-ending guy and say that that's not happenstance, that he runs into them like, oh... It does seem odd to me, though, that he only recognizes Natalie, but not Misty. Because to me, if he was purposely following them, he would be like, oh, hey, guys.
Sure.
Right? It's more of, I see you. But he is a detective, so I guess maybe he's going to start looking into this. Mm-hmm. They knew each other once. But now what their friendship became, it doesn't seem like they've stayed in touch by any means. In fact, she probably hasn't even seen him since she got on the plane. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what his involvement will be in this.
I think it's possible that he's going to be an ally to them and kind of help look into, like maybe he's going to get let inside on the secret of whatever is going on. Or maybe not even like, let in on the secret, but at least used to help investigate for them.
I'll tell you one thing I thought he was going to be used for, because I'm still confused on how this works. I thought that Natalie, Juliette Lewis's character here, I thought she was going to use him to get Travis's phone number.
Oh,
because
yeah.
your phone number is not on your fucking driver's license.
I wonder if there's some states where it is. It seems like a weird thing.
Wasn't it a California license plate? Or no? Or license plate? License? No? What was it?
I'm not sure.
You have a phone number on it. You don't have your phone number on your license, do you?
Does
anybody have their phone number on their license?
I've never had my phone number on my license, but I kind of wouldn't be surprised if it was on there in
possible.
certain states.
We'd have to look at the photo again.
If you lose it, it has your address on there.
Does have your address.
So,
for sure.
I don't know.
But she looks at it to call the number. So she's specifically
and it's not written
looking
on the paper.
No.
She's looking at the license.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the license. We'd have to pause it to see if there's... The license looked really kind of like hard to decipher.
Yes, it did. I was actually pretty surprised she was able to get any information. Like his face is all blurred and weird.
Yeah, I don't know how Misty came across this information. But as of right now, I think that we are going to say our predictions for... And you can obviously add on, but is that... Shauna is going to have sex with the mechanic.
Yep.
Because she's going to think that her husband's cheating, and he actually isn't, but he could be. And that might be what drives her into this mechanic's arms. Either way, she's fucking this mechanic. And I think that eventually Shauna is going to hook up with Misty and company, and they're going to get together. Like, they're going to get the band back together at some point. Right? And I think it might be to take down a common enemy, which might be someone who was out there before they got there and is now, they're used to living in the trees and the woods and whatever, and that's who's stalking her child. Yeah. And is who, is watching them and sending them this postcard. Maybe they came back after the fact and is now trying to hunt them down because they left the forest. Like, you made a pact, we're staying here. You told us you'd never return, and you went back. I don't know. And that could be total bullshit. I don't know if there's ever going to be anyone else out there, but I think there is somebody else out there, and I think that they are the one doing this.
Yes, I do as well.
But we'll be eating our words in like 3 episodes and be like, wow, we were way off.
We were off. I don't know. I think it's a good prediction. And we also thought that Shauna might actually be pregnant while they're stranded because...
Maybe, yeah. She might have had the kid raise it out there.
Yeah, the timing with the sex and yes.
Yeah.
So that'll be fucked to see, I'm sure.
Now this happens in 96.
And it's 2021. Actually, no, she wouldn't be able to because
she wouldn't be old enough, yeah.
So never mind.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Maybe she had a kid and then she ate it.
Oh my god.
It didn't happen.
Maybe it did.
So yeah, the timeline doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
Let's forget that idea.
Yeah.
But the other ones we'll edit that out. No, we won't.
So fast.
Anyway, looking through the characters, make sure we didn't forget something. You got anything else?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
That was it. It was a great
Kevin
episode.
spells his name with a Y because he's so rebellious. Everybody's always got you put a Y
Kevin
in the
with
name.
a Y.
Oh my god.
Meow.
So, yeah. Anyways, all right. Well, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.